The rain fell in sheets over the city, painting the streets in trembling reflections of light. Inside the dim corner of a small cafe, Ryan Blake sat with trembling hands around a lukewarm cup of coffee. The man who once ran a successful architecture firm now looked like a shadow of himself. Unshaven, exhausted, and broken. Across the table sat his friend, Mark, eyes filled with concern. "Ryan," he said softly, "it's been almost 2 years. Maybe you should start letting people help." Ryan shook his head. "I can't, Mark. I promised her. I promised Emily I'd raise Lily with joy, not pity." Mark sighed. "Your wife would have wanted you to move on, not drown yourself in guilt." Ryan didn't answer. His gaze drifted to the window, where rain tapped against the glass like a soft knock from fate. It had been exactly 2 years since Emily, his beloved wife, passed away from leukemia. She'd been his everything, his laughter, his home, his light. And when she left, she took pieces of him that he never got back. All he had left now was Lily, their 6-year-old daughter, the one person who still believed her father could fix anything. But this time, Ryan couldn't. Tomorrow was Lily's birthday, and for weeks, she'd been talking about the family party she wanted. She'd written a letter to Santa, even though it wasn't Christmas, asking for one gift. "I just want Mommy to come for my birthday, or at least someone who can be her for a day." Those words had shattered him. He couldn't tell her no. Not when she'd spent every night hugging her mother's photo before bed. Not when she asked the same innocent question over and over again. "Daddy, do mommies forget birthdays in heaven?" So, when he came across a flyer at the cafe, actresses available for parties, events, and emotional scenes, affordable rates, something in him stirred. It wasn't pride. It was desperation. He called the number, and an hour later, she walked in. The stranger in the rain. She looked nothing like Emily. Yet somehow, she carried the same gentle calm in her eyes. Her name was Maya Lane, a struggling theater actress who worked odd jobs to keep her rent paid. She wore a simple blue dress and carried a brown umbrella that dripped quietly onto the cafe floor. Ryan stood as she approached, his nerves visible. "Mississippi Lane?" She smiled softly. "You must be Mr. Blake. You sounded nervous on the phone." I'm sorry," he stammered. "This is a bit awkward." Maya nodded. "That's okay. I've done roles stranger than this." He blinked. "Roles?" She shrugged with a half-smile. "Last month I played a bride for a lonely grandfather who wanted to relive his wedding day for therapy. So, yes, I've seen odd requests." He chuckled faintly, the first smile he'd managed in days. Then it faded. "This isn't for me," he said quietly. "It's for my daughter. Tomorrow's her birthday." Maya's expression softened. "She wants to see her mother again, doesn't she?" Ryan's eyes dropped to his coffee. "She's 6. I've told her the truth, that her mom's in heaven, but she still sets a plate for her at dinner. She keeps asking me to bring her home." Maya's hand hesitated over her bag. "And you want me to pretend to be her?" He nodded slowly. "Just for one day, just so she can smile again. I'll explain you're an angel, maybe. I don't know. I'll pay whatever you want." There was a long silence between them, broken only by the rain outside. Finally, Maya spoke. "You're asking me to lie to a child." He looked up, pain filling his voice. "I'm asking you to give her a memory. Just one good memory she can hold on to. She's forgotten what it feels like to have a mother's arms around her. And I can't give her that." Maya's throat tightened. She'd seen heartbreak before. As an actress, she'd mimicked it countless times on stage. But this was real. A father crushed beneath the weight of his promise. She looked at him for a year. Ryan's eyes widened. "You'd really do that?" She nodded. "Yes, but you'll tell her who I really am eventually. She needs to know the truth. Don't let her live in fantasy forever." He nodded, guilt washing over him. "Thank you, Mississippi Lane. You don't know what this means." She smiled faintly. "Just call me Maya. And don't thank me yet. Kids are the best judges of hearts. If she senses I'm lying, Your plan will fail before it begins. He exhaled shakily. Then we'll pray she believes in miracles. Cloud with rain the night before. As they left the cafe, the rain had stopped, but puddles still mirrored the city lights. Maya opened her umbrella, and they walked toward the small parking lot. Tell me about her, Maya said softly. Lily. He smiled sadly. She loves stories. Her mom used to tell her one every night. She still believes her mom can hear her when she talks to the stars. Maya's eyes softened. She sounds wonderful. She is. Too wonderful for a broken man like me. They reached his car and she turned to him. Ryan, this isn't about you being broken. It's about showing her that even broken things can protect what they love. He met her gaze, the kind of gaze that feels like it sees straight through your soul. Why are you really doing this? He asked quietly. She looked down, voice trembling. Because once, I was a little girl who wanted her mom to come back, too. The words hung between them. Fragile, powerful, human. He didn't press further. He just nodded, understanding enough. Candle a promise beneath the stars. That night, Ryan stood by Lily's bed as she slept, her small hands clutching the picture of her mother. He whispered softly, Tomorrow, baby. You'll have the birthday you dreamed of. He looked up at the ceiling, eyes wet. Emily, I'm sorry if this is wrong. I just want her to smile again. Outside, the stars glowed faintly, as if listening. Turned away, tears filling his eyes. He hadn't seen his daughter smile like that since the funeral. For the rest of the morning, the house was filled with laughter. They played board games, baked cupcakes, and told stories about imaginary dragons. Maya didn't overdo it. She never claimed to be Emily. Instead, she said she was Mommy's friend from the stars, here to make sure Lily had the best birthday ever. And Lily believed her completely. At one point, she looked up at Maya with a cupcake in her hand and said, Mommy's friend? Can you stay forever? Maya froze. Her throat tightened. Oh, sweetheart, she whispered, brushing a strand of hair from the little girl's face. I wish I could. Ryan saw the look in Maya's eyes, a quiet ache that mirrored his own. Son, the truth that heals. As evening fell, guests began to leave, and Lily, exhausted from joy, drifted off to sleep on the couch, clutching her new teddy bear. The candles had melted down, the laughter had faded, and soft music played in the background. Ryan stood beside Maya, both watching Lily sleep. She's perfect, Maya said quietly. She gets that from her mother, Ryan replied. Maya turned to him, her eyes searching his. You did the right thing today. She needed this. He nodded slowly. So did I. They stood there for a long moment, saying nothing. Finally, Maya sighed. It's time I go. I don't want to confuse her more. Ryan hesitated. You don't have to leave right away. Just stay a little longer. She smiled softly. Ryan, I know this was supposed to be pretend, but it didn't feel that way, not to her, and not to me. He looked at her, his voice trembling. What do you mean? She took a deep breath. When I lost my mother, I used to pretend she was still with me. I talked to her in the mirror, imagined she was there brushing my hair. It wasn't real, but it made me feel loved. Today, I saw that same look in Lily's eyes. And for the first time in years, I felt like I could give that. Maya, you brought light back into this house. Maya blinked back tears. Then maybe your wife sent me here, just to remind you that love doesn't die. It just changes form. Ryan's hand trembled slightly. Maybe she did. Crescent moon, the letter on the table. Before Maya could say goodbye, Ryan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small envelope. I wrote this last night, he said. It's not payment. It's gratitude. She opened it slowly. Inside was a handwritten note that read, For one day, you didn't just pretend to be my wife. You reminded me what it means to have a heart that still believes in love. Thank you for saving my little girl's smile and my soul. Ryan and Lily. Maya's tears fell freely now. She whispered, Ryan, you don't have to thank me. You just have to promise one thing. He looked at her. Anything. She smiled faintly. Promise you'll keep showing her love every single day, even on the ones that hurt. He nodded. I will. Then, as she turned to leave, Lily stirred on the couch and murmured sleepily, Mommy's friend, don't go. Maya turned back, kneeling beside her. She pressed a kiss to the child's forehead. I'll always be here, sweetheart. In your stories. In your dreams. Ryan watched silently as Maya slipped out the door, the evening wind carrying her scarf like a whisper into the night. Dizzy 1 week later. A week passed. Ryan and Lily began their new routine. Breakfast together, evening walks in the park, bedtime stories that always ended with Lily looking at the stars and whispering, Good night, Mommy's friend. One afternoon, as Ryan picked Lily up from school, he noticed something pinned to her backpack. A small white envelope. Inside was a photo. Lily, laughing in Maya's arms at her birthday, both of them covered in frosting. On the back, written in delicate handwriting, were the words, You both saved me too. M. Ryan smiled through tears, clutching the photo. That night, as he tucked Lily in, she pointed at the stars and said, Daddy, Mommy's friend is shining up there. He nodded, eyes misty. Yes, baby. And so is Mommy. Maybe they're having tea together. Lily giggled and drifted to sleep. Ryan looked at her for a long time, whispering, Thank you, Maya. Wherever you are. Sunrise months later, a new beginning. 3 months later, at a charity event for children's welfare, Ryan stood giving a speech about hope and second chances. As the crowd applauded, he glanced across the room and froze. Maya was there, in a simple black dress, volunteering at the registration desk, her hair tied back in that same modest bun. Their eyes met. For a moment, time stood still. Then she smiled, that same gentle, healing smile, and Ryan felt something inside him shift. He walked toward her slowly. Hi, he said softly. It's been a while. She nodded. It has. He hesitated. Lily still talks about you. Her eyes softened. Tell her I said happy dreams. Ryan smiled. I will. Then, after a pause, maybe you could tell her yourself? Maya looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. Maybe I could. Clapperboard call TO action. For your faceless storytelling video. Broken heart 1 week. One stranger. One act of kindness that healed a family. Sometimes pretending to love becomes real, and kindness writes stories no script ever could. Glowing star if this story touched your heart. Like, share, and subscribe for more true-to-life tales that remind us that even broken hearts can shine again.